We're gonna talk about swallowing. Zoe, how do you swallow? You put the food and the drinks in your mouth? Yeah? What happens if you drink regular water? You get sick, that's right. The water goes in your lungs, huh? Mom, what should we do? Can we go in the shrinkamadoodle and look Zoe's lungs? Do you want to go in your pharynx? In your larynx? Sure, we can go. All right, we're gonna look at this picture. See it, Zoe? Look in the camera. Yeah, Zoe, this is where your tongue is and this is your soft palate. She's not paying attention, but you can. Whenever Zoe swallows, or puts food in her mouth, her soft palate does an okay job with food, as long as it doesn't have a liquid. Her soft palate senses that, I think it's actually her whole mouth is sensing the food, and she hears the food. In fact, the crunchier the food is, the better it is. It gives that sensory input that tells, get your foot down, that tells her brain that she ate. And so she's able to swallow that food without it going into her lungs. But whenever she drinks liquids that are thin, her body can't sense it. She has some damage to her soft palate and also some damage to her brain. That's the cerebral palsy, and the combination of those two things has made it so that Zoe doesn't sense liquids in her mouth. So when she swallows, instead of the liquids going down the tube into the stomach, which is called the esophagus, they go into the tube to the lungs, which is called the trachea. This is the epiglottis. This piece of, or this muscle, is actually controlled by the brain in response to the palate sensing the liquid. So how speech therapists help us? We love speech therapists. Do we love our speech therapist? We do. We love all of our speech therapists that we've had in the past, including our first subscriber. So our speech therapists help by teaching us how to thicken liquids, because thickened liquids are more like food inside the mouth. And so they give a bigger sensation. They're thicker. And then also they're slow. It's slower when you swallow a thickened liquid. And so it gives the epiglottis some time to close. If we don't thicken Zoe's liquids, she gets pneumonia because the liquids go into her lungs. She's sleepy. Are you sleepy? She's sleepy. So that's a little just about dysphagia. There's two types of dysphagia. So one we talked about is actually the pharyngeal dysphagia, because it has to do with the pharynx, the back side of the mouth, and this area down here. There's also oral dysphagia. Zoe has that too, and she has problems with chewing and swallowing and making a bolus with food. She often pockets food. You get food stuck in your cheeks? Yeah, and you can tell because when she takes a drink from her sippy cup or from a straw or even from a regular cup, which we rarely do because it's messy, the food will make a residue on those things. So we make thickened liquids, and we don't use commercial-based thickeners anymore because they taste like paper towels. Do they taste like paper towels? And they have a lot of preservatives. And so we make our own thickener using store-bought xanthan gum. I'll post a link to the brand that we like the most. Every thickener's every xanthan gum's just a little bit different, and so I always recommend that you have a packet of commercial thickener to compare your thickened liquid to make sure you have the ratio right. But in general, for every 8 cups of water, we use 1.5 tablespoons of xanthan gum. So it's pretty easy. We used to actually can make the thickener too, but right now we just thicken all 8 cups of the water at a time. I will also post the recipe for making the actual gel-based thickener, and that way you can you can make your own thickener, store it in the refrigerator so it doesn't go bad, And then you can add that to individual cups of beverages, like if you want to thicken milk or juice. We mostly only use thickened water. We hardly ever thicken any other beverage or use it to thicken anything. She drinks water. She doesn't drink a lot of thickened water because one of the bad parts about honey thick liquids is that honey thick liquids tend to, this is a dietitian thing, I've researched it, they make reflux worse. You just heard her reflux. Reflux. And it's because the thickened liquids stay in the stomach longer. They also coat proteins that make them hard to digest. And so they also do not quench thirst. So you'll notice kids who drink honey thick liquids either will not drink them much because they don't like the taste of them, which we've remedied by making our own, or they over gulp them. Yeah, she'll gulp 16 ounces down if I don't give her free water overnight through her G-tube. Can we show everybody your G-tube? Where's it at? Where's your belly tube? Hold on, we gotta move the camera closer. Show me your silly belly. Where's your silly belly? Right there, there it is. So if we don't give her water overnight, then she'll end up being way too thirsty in the morning and gulp, 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 and then spit up everywhere. Or have a tummy ache. If your kid doesn't reflux, they probably get a tummy ache. What about Maya? What about Maya? She's hiding? And music? I know. Zoe doesn't want to make this video because it's boring, she said. So we're going to make the thickener. I'm going to add, what I'm going to have to do is turn on the blender. So it's going to be a little noisy, and I'll just show you my technique. We use a Vitamix. You can probably use a regular blender for this. Some people use Magic Bullet for it. So I'm going to do, this is a ½ tablespoon, so I'm doing 1½ tablespoons, and it's 8 cups of water. So I'll turn my blender on low before I even start adding the xanthan gum. Might want to, okay, ready? Here we go, turn it on. And I'll just sprinkle it in. Like that. And I'll post the recipe also for Nectar thick liquids. So honey thick is the thickest you can go before pudding. And pudding's just not even worth it. Like, why eat pudding thick water? And I seriously recommend that if your child's on honey thick liquids, for you to consider getting your child a low profile G-tube, or an adult a low profile G-tube, or regular G-tube if they can handle that, because it is super hard to stay hydrated on honey thick liquids. This has liberated us. Zoe was solely tube fed last year because of some problems with when she had a incidental, no, it wasn't incidental. It wasn't on purpose uveoplasty, but I didn't know it was going to happen. So anyway, it turned out okay. She's recovered from it, but she was refluxing food into her nose. All right, I'm gonna pause for a second so I can get this well blended. I'm gonna turn the blender up higher. Okay, so now you can see that's really thick. That's honey thick liquids. And that's what my sweet girl will drink. So, I guess that's the end of our video today. Will you please stop picking your toes? You want to say goodbye? Goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks for watching, and look in the notes below this video for the recipes on how to make honey thick and nectar thick liquids.